Hey, this is your girl, Carla Renata, aka the Curvy Film Critic with Black Hollywood Live for episode 78. I'm actually in St. Louis, Missouri because I came here to have a double celebration with my dad. I mentioned last week that my dad and I were born on the same day and same time. So I'm here celebrating that, and my high school reunion was on that same day. So I'm just in St. Louis celebrating and eating all the Chinese food and White Castles I can handle. But I couldn't leave y'all hanging because we had 3 major releases this week. We had Downton Abbey, Ad Astra, and JUDY. And I also did a cut-up, laugh-out-loud funny interview with Ryan Michelle Bathe from the First Wives Club, which is now streaming on BET+, and I'll show you guys a little clip of that. But let's just get right into it. Downton Abbey is the big screen version of the beloved BBC TV series, BBC PBS TV series, Masterpiece Theatre TV series. And if you haven't seen Downton Abbey, if you never saw the series, it's not going to matter. You will still enjoy this movie. And if you want to get caught up on the series, you can go to the Focus Features website, and Jim Carson is breaking it all down for you. And you can also go to YouTube and Facebook Focus Feature pages where myself and 4 other critics are breaking it down scene by scene, the feature film that is, for Downton Abbey. And it won't make you miss a thing, it won't spoil anything for you, but it's called You Know That Scene. It's produced by Focus Features, and you can catch it on YouTube and Facebook. Now, in the big screen version of Downton Abbey, the royals are paying a visit and shenanigans ensue. The downstairs staff is in an uproar because the royal family's kitchen people are coming in trying to take over, and then the upstairs people are upset because they're trying to take over up there too, and it's just pure comedy. And of course, Downton Abbey would not be Downton Abbey without Maggie Smith and Jim Carson. I'm just saying. And the guy that plays Mosley, pure comedy. I highly recommend you go see this film. It's directed by the same dude that did the TV series for all those years, Julian Fellows. Again, it is produced by Focus Features. Now, the next one up on the docket is Ad Astra. It stars Brad Pitt, Donald Sutherland, and Tommy Lee Jones. Brad Pitt is crushing it in this movie, and he's had a couple of films out this year. You also saw him earlier this year in Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, so he's having a pretty good year on screen, I would say. But in Ad Astra, we're seeing a space film that I personally have never seen before. It's gorgeously shot. We see we get a glimpse of the future for the world, where you actually have an airport on Mars. Like, it's crazy. It was a lot of fun. But what I also have never seen before are 2 things. A space film that takes place with daddy issues. We have daddy issues. Brad Pitt, who plays Roy McBride, and his father, Clifford McBride, have a very contentious relationship, and Clifford McBride is played by Tommy Lee Jones. And the film basically deals with Roy having to go to find his father 30 years later to find out what happened to a project his father was working on called the Lima Project. And it's a really interesting dynamic that happens between them, but it's well worth it. It's also well worth the watch because we see women in positions that we've never seen them in before. This is the first space film where I've seen a multicultural cast. We have women, we have black women, we have black men, and they're in key high power positions. Ad Astra is a high-tech fantasy ride, and it is worth every single penny and every single minute that it inhabits on the screen. So go check that out. Last but not least is JUDY. But before we get to JUDY, I want to let you watch this interview that I teased earlier about Ryan Michelle Bathe from the First Wives Club. Check it out, and then I'll come right back. Miss Ryan Michelle Bathe, honey, she is starring in the BET Plus reboot of the famous movie, The First Wives Club. And yes, boo, she is starring in it. She is number 1 on the call sheet. Her name is the first one that pops up on the screen. And I am so excited to have her here in studio with me. Hey, Ryan.
Hi. You like the best hype man ever. I'm like, yes. Where's she at? Can't wait for her to show up. Oh, it's me.
Yes, girl. I gotta hype you up because what people won't know before they watch this is that we're both from St. Louis, Missouri.
Come on.
We from the Lou.
Yes, all good things originate from the Lou, is what I tell people.
Yes, they do. And your hubby's from the Lou, too.
Yes, my husband is born and raised in St. Louis. It's funny because he tells me I can't claim St. Louis because I left when I was 9. But my family stayed there. So that was always home base for us. I will tell you this. She took me to her friend's house, and her friend had this beautiful apartment, and she was wearing sunglasses, and it was at night. And she was wearing sunglasses the whole time. And my mother introduced her, and I'll tell you who it is afterwards.
Okay.
My mother introduced her and said her name, and I said hello. And she said, Claire, I don't want her calling me that. She can call me Miss Hot. So from then on,
I already know
you
who
already
it
know
is.
who it is. She was Miss Hot. And when we go downstairs, I said, Mama, you didn't tell me Miss Hot was blind. And my mother looked at me, what makes you think she's blind? I said, well, because she was wearing sunglasses in the house, and the only people who do that are Ray Charles and Stevie Wonder, so I thought she was blind. She said, girl, Jennifer ain't blind, she just crazy. Jennifer Lewis, everyone.
Jennifer Lewis, yes. The black mother of Hollywood.
The black mother of Hollywood.
Another person that's from St. Louis.
She from Ken, and she will tell you.
She will tell you quick, fast,
I'm
and
from Kinlock.
I love that so much. Now, this Ryan right here, this Ryan I did not know existed until I watched the First Wives Club, and I was actually, I knew this Ryan was in there somewhere when I saw you on Empire, recurring on Empire, and you turned up. I was like, well, okay, Ryan, okay.
I am from the Lou.
Okay. But you were a little bit more refined when you recurred on This Is Us, your husband's show, and now you have this show all to yourself, the First Wives Club. I'm so excited. So tell me what it feels like for you, first and foremost, to be number one. You are number one on the call sheet, girl. Yeah. Number one on the call sheet, even above Jill Scott.
No one is ever above Jill Scott.
On that call sheet, she is. Okay, let's call a spade a spade. I'm gonna call a spade a spade. On that call sheet,
funny.
You're right. No one is above Jill Scott, but on that call sheet, Ryan Bathe is. Okay, let's just call a spade a spade. But what does that feel? What emotions are running through you? Like the first day you showed up on set, and you were like, oh snap, this is really happening.
Yeah, that's exactly what it was. It's exactly what I said to myself was, oh snap, this is really happening. There was so much to process. When I left New York, I literally, it was big. All I had was $1 and a dream. Like, you know what I mean? I really felt like, you know what I mean? Like, Welch is great. Like, nobody would ever compare me to Biggie Smalls, but I did in my head, you know? I didn't have any, like, I had so little, you know? And listen, not to say poor me, because there's a lot of people who do a lot with a little, but, you know, I would walk around Brooklyn or I'd walk around Manhattan and I would be like, wow, you know, one day I'll be able to just survive in the city, which, you know, you got to be a millionaire just to even survive in the city. And I came to LA and I thought LA would be different, and it was different in ways that you come to LA and it's so sprawling.
Yes,
right?
It is. It's very spread out.
Very spread out. And the thing about New York is that, like, you go out your house and you're gonna see somebody you know, and we're all in the same boat. It's very,
I'm with you on that one.
Right?
It's a very different animal adjusting from New York to here.
It's very democratic in a way, like egalitarian. We're all doing this together. We're all in the same boat. But LA, it always felt like there are those people that pose, that like to pretend that they have more than they have, you know. And if you're somebody like me, when I first got to LA, I was very naive, and I thought that people actually really had those things, and I was like, oh, I don't have any of those. And then, you know, it took me a while to realize, oh, A, that's a weave, B, you returning it at the store. Oh, okay, I see what we doing. That's not, none of that is yours. Okay, all right, good to know. I was like, like, I really have come a long way. Like, I could go in the corner store and get a kombucha every day. Not just once a week did I have to save up for the kombucha. I could go every day and get my little $4.99 kombucha. I was like, this is nice. It's a beautiful thing. I you know, and you know, now you go back with the kids, and you know, I had to leave the kids here, and that was a whole thing. And you know, I just wanted to. I reminded myself every single day, and this is, you know, forgive me, whoever's out there that this may be too much for, but every day I woke up and I played Hezekiah Walker's Grateful. And that was just like to remind myself every day just how grateful I am for this opportunity and grateful that I am to be here, and to remind people that just because you don't get your pot of gold at the end of the rainbow at 24, do not stop. And just because you don't get it at 34, do not stop. Like, you know what I mean? Just don't stop. Just don't stop.
You have to believe in you. You have to believe in you because nobody else is going to do it for you.
Nobody else can do it for you.
And if this doesn't work, then try this over here. If that over there doesn't work, then try something else. You just got to keep trying different things to figure out what's going to hit for you, because what's working for somebody else isn't necessarily what's going to work for you.
Amen.
Right?
Amen. Amen. And you know, just know that, and know that my mantra all these years has been there's more than enough for everyone
to go around,
because it can feel very much like, you know, and in very competitive fields, not just film and television. So for anybody out there who's in a competitive field, it can feel like there's not enough to go around, and that if somebody gets something, that means that it's less for you. It can feel like that. That is not true. It is a myth. And even if it is true, if you believe it, you may as well quit. You may as well, because the minute somebody else gets something, that means there's not enough left for you, so you may as well find another profession. Yep. Don't believe it. Just choose another story, choose something else to believe, which is there is more than enough for everyone. And there are times when I honestly didn't believe it, but I just had to say it. I just had to say it.
I'm not so in that wavelength of thought. There is enough to go around for everybody. But for some folk, they think that we are other folk. And so it may not necessarily be that it's going around for everybody, but folk think we the same folk. Girl. So for you in particular, who's the person that they compare you to all the time?
These days, I mean, God love her. I love her to death. And she did go to Stanford, which is ironic, but everybody thinks I'm Issa Rae. Girl, I was at the Black Panther the premiere, and so the after party was across the street.
Right.
So I'm walking across the street and I hear Issa, but I don't realize that somebody's saying Issa. I just think, I don't know what they're saying.
Right.
This man screamed and shouted me down till I turned around. He was like, Issa!
And you were like, no!
I was like, first of all, I don't know you. Second of all, I doubt that she know you. I bet she don't know you. And third of all, I'm not Issa.
So
I am not Issa.
How daunting was it for you? Because this movie is a really popular movie. It had Bette Midler, Diane Keaton, Goldie Hawn in it. It had that theme song, you know. I mean, they
all wore white.
Right? Ivanka Trump was in it. Like there was there was so many iconic things about it.
And so many iconic moments.
Yes. So I know I did get a chance to see some of it before I met with you, because I'm not going to be that chick.
Thank you.
I thought it was absolutely hilarious. And it premieres tonight on BET Plus.
Yes. So not even tonight, like literally right now. Should anyone out there want to watch it right this minute,
you can
they
see it.
can.
Oh, that's right, because it's streaming.
It's streaming,
right.
y'all.
It's streaming on BET Plus.
Go to the App Store, get BET Plus. It's going to ask you to sign up, and you sign up, and then you pick your password. Pick a good one that you can remember, and then you click, and then all of these wonderful things are right at your fingertips, and we are the first thing that comes up. So yes, you can watch it right now.
I love that. I love it. And it's you, and it's Jill Scott and Michelle Buteau. All three, the combination of the three of y'all together is pure gold.
Oh, thank you.
It is hilarious. So, you know, you guys are going to watch it. I know you're going to watch it. So Jill Scott is playing true to form. She's a Grammy Award winning artist.
She is.
Who's married to a philandering husband, and her career is kind of at a standstill.
Right.
Michelle Buteau is a surgeon who's also married, and her marriage is also at a standstill. You're married as well to a politician, and his career is not at a standstill, but is hedging on whether or not he wins this election, which you seem to be a crucial part of it in terms of being in front of it, right? So having said all of that, how important do you think it is for women to hold up men in the household? Because we have jobs, and I know sometimes for some men it's really hard for them to hold us up, but how hard do you think it is for us to hold them up?
How hard it is and how important it is. I'll answer both of those things. You know, that's a hard question to answer, because, you know, you think about Coretta Scott King and you're like, well, thank God she went through all that, because now we got equal rights. But dang, did it have to be at Coretta's expense? You know, could you imagine if she'd been like, Martin, no, we ain't doing this today. That's enough of this. Let us go head on and raise these 5 kids. We got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, Martin, 5. They 5 kids. But she would have been well within her rights. You know what I mean? And if I had been one of Coretta's girlfriends counseling her, I'd have been like, I don't know about this Martin dude, girl. Shoot, I got a dream too. Did you get a better husband?
I cannot stand you. You are killing me.
So thank God, Black liberation did not land on my shoulders, because I'd be like, I don't know, y'all.
Oh my God. Okay, well, I know the answer to that question.
But honestly, I do think that it's dependent upon each situation, and I make but honestly, there had to have been a moment where somebody, where Michelle or Coretta Scott King or all of these people decide for themselves, I can sacrifice for a much greater good. Now, if the greater good is maybe the greater good doesn't have to be your man has a dream of whatever he has. Sometimes those dreams can be like, well, listen, dude, you have this amazing dream, and that's great, and I want you to have your McDonald's franchise or whatever it is, but maybe I don't have to subsume all of myself for this dream. You know, maybe there's a way that we can give a little and take a little, and give a little and take a little. But I do think it's very individual, and I do think it's very personal. But I would say, like you said, everybody's journey is their journey. I wouldn't say, don't say to yourself, well, it worked out for Michelle Obama and, you know, Coretta Scott King, so I'm gonna go ahead on and stick with Curtis over here. You know, maybe you and Curtis can have a different conversation, because Curtis is not Barack. Mm-hmm. So maybe you know, understand
exactly
that, and there's a difference between Curtis and Barack, and maybe you can just. We also have to at all times remember, what did she say in Hamilton? Write yourself back into the story. Mm-hmm. You know, she like, I wrote myself out, and then she has this amazing song, and that to me, when I saw the play, I was like, oh, it really kind of hit me right here, because I think that that's important for women to constantly write themselves into the story. So if you have this amazing man, whether he's Curtis or Barack, you know, just remember to write yourself into the story, because, you know, if we look at Michelle, she quite literally did that, right? She wrote her own book, and she wrote her own rules for this thing of there are no rules. She was the very first Black first lady.
Yes, she was.
The very first one.
Hopefully she won't be the last.
Hopefully she won't be the last. I mean, hopefully we'll... Hallelujah. I'm not going to go there. I'm not going to go there. I'm not going to talk about politics. I'm not. Hopefully she won't be the last, but she will always and forever be the first. And she had to write a playbook for something that didn't even exist.
Absolutely.
Right? Absolutely. And she wrote herself into that, and she wrote herself into that story, and she found a way to support and uplift and also be a presence that was a gift to all of us. Mm-hmm. So, you know, just remember to write yourself into the story.
Absolutely. Now, I know that you and Sterling have worked together quite often. Mm-hmm. When I see y'all, because I see y'all quite often out and about. I see y'all quite often.
She really does. Like, she's not just saying that.
I'm not just saying that.
Yeah.
But I see y'all out and about quite often, and I'm always flabbergasted, amazed, honored, and got mad love and respect for y'all, because I know y'all have a family, and then it's really difficult. Like, you shot First Wives Club in New York.
I did.
He's shooting This Is Us here, and you guys have kids. So I'm like, how is that happening? How are y'all able to work that out? Because that's a lot.
It is. One day at a time. Sweet Jesus. Remember that used to be the commercial?
Yes.
You would have to like get the album, and they would have the, you know.
Yes. No, do you remember the commercial? You might be too young for this one. The one where they would be playing the records, and the guy would go, "Let me borrow." Hey, brother.
No, my brother, you got to get your own. Girl, yes. Look. I had an old grandmother. She didn't have cable. I saw that commercial 17 times. Made up backstories for all. You know what? Lola Blank is in that commercial. Lola Blank. See, I know all the like any Black person over the age of 55. I know their whole thing.
Yes. I know my nose. I know I'm looking like Rudolph.
No,
I know
you are
I
not.
Look like Rudolph.
You look
right
adorable.
Now.
But yeah. I totally remember that. And that it was well, how do all those old songs like "Stay"?
love, hey love,
hey love, that one, and all your old time favorites, cowboys to girls.
Oh, y'all have to forgive us. Y'all have to forgive us.
You knew we was gonna cut up.
I knew we were gonna cut up, and I said we were gonna cut up online. Y'all thought I was playing. I was so not joking.
Y'all didn't know he was gonna
Ari in First Wives Club.
Ariel Simone Carmichael.
Yes,
darling.
What do you want the people to know about Ari?
I think that Ari is a woman who has truly a heart of gold. And she is a people pleaser to a fault. And I think that the best thing that Ari ever did was becoming friends with Hazel and Bree.
Aw,
yeah,
that's beautiful.
But we get this opportunity to have specific, very specific people. I mean, we even meet my mother. You know what I mean? We get to hear about them going to college and little snippets of what happened to them when they were in college, and it enabled me as an actor and all of the three of us to really talk about and our backstory together and individually, and really weave this like real world that obviously isn't a real, but it was real for us. And then I think it'll be really, really real for the audience. And in that specificity, in that reality, that's when you see yourself.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean?
I do know what you mean, because I saw myself and I was so excited. Girl, we have run out of time.
No, we haven't.
Yes, we have.
That says 16 minutes.
No, it don't.
Oh, no.
We have run out of time, but you're going to have to come back and co-host with me or something.
I will do.
Because,
yes.
Girl, we had way too much fun.
Yes.
I was so excited for you to come. It was so wonderful having you here.
And I was so excited to come to have met you, seen you out and about in the red carpet, but it was really nice to actually have this time.
Yeah, because like you said before, you're just like, hey girl, hey, and hug, kiss, click, go.
Right,
but yeah, this was nice to be able to have this time.
Absolutely.
So tell the people where they can find you on social media, and tell them the information about the show once again, where they can find it.
Okay. On Twitter, I'm at Michelle Shell, because my middle name is Michelle, and Michelle Obama is my favorite person. So I was like, Michelle Shell. And it would have been Obama if I didn't think I was going to get arrested. So that's Twitter, at Michelle Shell. And my Instagram is at Ryan Michelle B. And I am on Facebook, but don't friend me, because I don't know if I can have all those friend requests. And
you can have it up until 5,000.
Oh, okay, good. Then go ahead, friend me. I'm telling you, friend you back. Yeah. BET Plus, you can download the app. I did a web series called Hysterical Pregnancy. That's on Facebook. You can find that. What else do I have online? I really hope that's it. I heard somebody put like there's some website about feet, and I guess my feet are on it. Yeah,
Ryan,
it's kind of creepy.
I'm
just trying to tell people where they can find me.
Girl, they not looking for your feet. We're not here to promote your feet. Oh, okay, really? And the flip-flops. I cannot. But y'all, that is it for this edition, episode 78 of The Curvy Critic with Carla Renata, with Ryan Michelle Bathe, my girl.
Thank you.
Please don't forget to check her out on the First Wives Club at BET Plus, which is streaming right now, and support her better half, her hubby Sterling K. Brown, on This Is Us on NBC.
Yeah.
But she is a cut up. Like I said, you can catch the full interview over at Black Hollywood Live in its entirety, and check it out there. I cut it up so that you get some highlights, but we had a great time, and hopefully she'll come back and visit us. All right, so now Judy. Judy is based on Judy Garland during her last years in London, where she played at a place called The Talk of the Town. And it's a Judy Garland that you've never seen before. She's a little thinner, she's a little older, her hair is a lot shorter, she's having a rough time in life. She's still considered a star, she's still, considered a legend, but she's fallen upon hard times. She's being booed, people are throwing stuff at her. But the best thing about Judy is the fact that Renee Zellwegger is giving a very nuanced, astounding performance. It is absolutely amazing. And the last 10 minutes of the film are heartbreaking to watch. The very last 10 minutes of the film made me personally break into the ugly cry. And I'm the biggest Judy Garland fan that there is. So there's that. I highly suggest you guys check that out. Judy is... I messed up, y'all. Hold on. Stay there. Stay right there. Judy is produced by It's produced by BBC Films and Roadside Attractions. It's directed by Robert Gould, and I forgot to tell you who Ad Astra was produced by. Ad Astra is produced by 20th Century Fox, and it's written, directed, and also produced by James Gray. So, JUDY. What I will say about JUDY is that the script for JUDY is a little weak, but Renee Zellwegger's performance totally makes that film worth watching. So again, the 3 films that I saw this week were Downton Abbey, which is produced by BBC Films and Focus Features, directed by Julian Fellows. It is in theaters right now as of September 20th. Also released on September 20th are Ad Astra, which is produced by 20th Century Fox and written, produced, and directed by James Gray, and JUDY, which is directed by Rupert Gould, and it is produced by BBC Films and Roadside Attractions. So now, let me give you a couple of tidbits of news. So, HBO Films. So last week I gave y'all like my little wrap of the Toronto International Film Festival, right? And I said that Bad Education hadn't been picked up, and I was really sad about that. Well, I'm not sad anymore because HBO picked it up. It's Bad Education. It stars Hugh Jackman and Allison Janney. It is based on the biggest high school financial scandal ever in America. You are gonna love that film. It's so acerically delicious. You will love it. Lee Daniels has set the cast for United States versus Billie Holiday, and it's starring Andra Day, Trevante Rhodes, Garrett Hudlin, and Natasha Lyonne. I'm really looking forward to that. It's dealing with that time that the federal government was after Billie Holiday, trying to arrest her for being a drug trafficker, which that in itself is just crazy, but that's what was going on. And it was the whole situation was led by this federal agent named Jimmy Fletcher. But that's it for the news. That's it for the films. I will be back in real time next week. And if you guys have any questions, any comments, I wholeheartedly welcome them. Let me know you were here by giving me a big old thumbs up on the YouTube channel. Go to iTunes, Spotify, iHeartRadio. Leave me a comment. Let us know how much you love us. Because the thing is, I wouldn't be here if it weren't for you. And I can't continue to stay here if you don't let folk know how we doing. Because, they'll snatch you off just like they snatch a show off the network. I'm just saying. But that's it for this week. So, usually right after this, you would see me at General Hospital, but alas, I will not be there this week. But I will be there next week live. Again, thank you so much for tuning in, and until the next time, love and peace. Love, peace, and hair grease, y'all.